All right, so we're back at it here at race number 2 of the USMTB Junior Series. This race was at Anglers Park, which is in the city of Danville, for the Return of the Ridge 2025. This was a giant weekend of mountain bike racing. Started off on Friday with the UCI Elite Men and Women Short Track, and on Saturday with the UCI Elite Men, Women, and Juniors Cross Country Racing. It was an amazing weekend, and I was honored to be the announcer for the event, and took us to Sunday morning for all the amateur and junior racers from the USMTB Series and USMTB Junior Series. And so here we are in the final wave of the day, the Cat 3 and Junior Wave, where Nino had lined up and was ready for some action. One of the coolest things I thought about this particular event was that three of the top 5 juniors in the entire United States of America were lined up in this particular event. Hutch Griffith, the number 1 rider in the United States, Nino O'Connell, the number 3 rider in the United States, and Sebastian Ackley, the number 4 rider in the United States, were all at this event in Danville for this particular race. And I just thought it was amazing that at the 10 and under division, to have this level of competition in Danville, all from the same series, all from the same part of the United States, lined up to go head-to-head and see who comes out on top. It was a super awesome event, and we were lucky to see this type of quality competition for kids this young. So right off the bat, Nino had a little bit of a rough start. He is the smallest one in the field, and he's on the smallest bike with probably the smallest gear ratio. And rarely is it really that big of a deal when they're going uphill, but on this long, straight, flat stretch, you could tell that he was slightly at a disadvantage, spinning out his gears. He looked like a hamster in a cage, in a hamster wheel, going as fast as he could possibly go. And as a result of that, he did have a little bit of a tough start, but as the course proceeded to go uphill, he was able to work his way around several riders and end up going into the woods in 3rd place. You can see right here, Nino takes a little dig, burns a match, and was able to get around Sebastian into the 3rd spot, going into the single track behind the new kid to the series, David Mondragon, who moved here from Texas recently and is a super fast 10-year-old. And Nino was able to follow in behind him, and the 1st place rider, Hutch, was off the front to begin with, and Nino, after his tough start, just really never had a chance to even see Hutch. So he kind of had to let Hutch go, and his focus was on the rest of the riders. But as you'll see through the rest of this video, the cards were stacked against him today. He made several mistakes, which honestly, if you're going to, this is the time to do it. Let's get it out of the system and learn from the mistakes he's making, which he did. And it was a good thing to go over the video and talk about some of the things he could have did better, and try not to run into trees and try not to fall over in the mud. And you'll see as the video goes on, Nino just had the cards against him this particular day. But he fought back, and I highly encourage you to watch the majority of the first lap, and then maybe skip to the last 5 or 6 minutes of the race, where you see Nino ends up catching sight of Mondragon, and he's able to burn every match in his book to come back and almost take the race in a sprint finish. So at least check out the last 5 or 6 minutes after this first lap. As you can tell from watching right here, Nino and Mondragon were pretty evenly matched. Nino seemed to maybe have a little bit more of an edge going up some of the hills, and Mondragon had a little bit more of an edge on some of the bumpier, rootier sections. But here nor there is kind of a scratch, and they were kind of riding together until Nino runs into a tree. I'm sure that skill and fitness and all that may have come into play later on in the race, but we really never got to that point because after Nino ran into a tree, he was a little bit in panic mode and had to fight back to try to catch back up, and that's when he had another incident. You all know how it goes. When you have one mistake, it seems like they all compile and you keep having them. But here nor there, it was great that he was able to ride with somebody that was close to his speed, and it gave him a lot of a challenge. That's what Nino needs at his age. Being 8 years old, stepping up in the 9 and 10-year-old division, he's doing that so that he can have the challenge. And David Mondragon was able to provide that. Kudos to him for putting on a good race here, and being his first time in the series, he had an excellent showing, and I look forward to seeing these two race in the future.
Back.
And this is one of the areas we're talking about where we could actually review the video and use it as a way to teach Nino how to race and how to use certain tactics inside the race to put himself in a better position. At his age, he's still learning how to pass and how to call out passes, and that sometimes it really doesn't work that way, and that was this particular circumstance here. Nino kept asking him to pass, and the kid clearly is racing Nino, and he's not going to concede his position to that, and Nino really didn't understand why. But that's where this came into play for us to be able to use this as a learning point and explain to Nino that you have to attack in certain spots, and sometimes you have to force the pass, or you have to wait until it's a safer place to do such. And so you'll see a few times through here Nino's asking to pass, but he's really not in a position to do it. He thought he would just be able to ask for it and get it done. And he didn't realize that he really needed to be a lot closer, and then, pretty much, hate to say it, but worry the kid to death until eventually he lets him pass, or wait till it's a more strategic place like a steep uphill or a wide area that he could use his speed and get around the rider. But that's okay. It all worked out, and at the end of the day, it was a great way to teach Nino the important lessons about passing and calling things out, and I anticipate in the future that this won't happen again. As you can see, the skill level here is just astronomically high to be an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old. They're passing many of the 11, 12, 13, and 14-year-old riders, and these two kids are riding at an average around 10 miles an hour. They were on pace to do, an upper 18, low 19 lap time at this particular speed, and it's just amazing to watch, honestly. The kids this young can be this good. I wish that I could have gotten into biking at this particular age. But, kudos to these kids who actually, even at this young age, take it seriously. And I hate using the word train, but they go out and practice a lot, same as many kids do for soccer or baseball. It's clear that these kids do it for cycling. And it seems like a very positive and bright future for USA Cycling if kids throughout the United States of America are taking it as serious as this. Something tells me in 15, 20 years from now, we're going to have a heck of a group of kids or adults at that particular time lined up at the Olympics or at international competitions, taking the USA to top spot in many of the biggest races in the world.
There's a kid behind you. I would like to pass. Now, could you please let him pass?
If you know Nino like we do, you kind of get the chuckle that I probably have listening to him talk out loud to himself and his way of asking to pass and thinking that he's in the right position to do so. He really doesn't know any different. But hearing him try to reason with himself on why the kid's not letting him pass, I thought was hilarious. But everything was going good. Shortly after this, he finds a tree with his left handlebar. And that's when panic mode sets in, and you'll enjoy really listen to himself, fuss at himself for his mistake, and how he's going to lose as a result of wrecking. So follow along for the next several minutes and listen to Nino give himself a good tongue lashing.
Rider back, different class. Sure.
Right here. Come on.
Okay. That's the tree! Golly! Nothing. I'm gonna lose control. Stupid idiot tree. Idiot darn tree! No, that won't happen. Guys, that'll be so freaking mad. They'll probably take my tail. Courteous. Yeah. Back. See it. Rider back. Oh, great. Rider back. Whenever you would like me to pass. See. No! You gotta be freaking best. Yeah.
As much as I want to feel bad for him, it's really hard to do anything other than laugh. The level of frustration that he was experiencing is just, it's almost comical. But, you know, as they say, when it's bad, it's bad. And he hits a tree, he's coming back, he's passing the big kids, makes it through the technical creek to slide out in the mud and fall over. And then trying to get going again, and pretty much the only spot of the entire trail that was still muddy is everything that he could do to get his bike rolling again. But finally here he goes, and he crosses over the greenway, and now it's time for the one and only really long climb along the course. And he's able to make up some time here, but for all he knows, the race is pretty much done. He thinks he's all by himself now, and you can kind of start to see the frustration build.
Yeah. 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 Right by the tree. Right by it. Right by it. How much worse? The one race gets. I think this is as bad as it goes. Yeah.
If there's one mistake that I made as coach, it was that I guess had bad beta for the actual race course. I was under the impression that the UCI Rock Garden was going to be taken out for the amateur races on Sunday. And Nino had gone down prior to the race on 2 different occasions to pre-ride with some friends. We even shot the video for the race course. But we did not realize that the UCI Rock Garden was in play, and Nino does have the skill level to be able to do something quite technical and hard. But we didn't practice it because we didn't think it was part of it. And as a result, it really, really, really hurt Nino, because both of his competitors in front of him did the rock garden on both laps. And I told Nino at the start of the race that it was now in play, but it wasn't in play for him because we hadn't had time to practice, and I didn't want him doing something without having the appropriate practice for it. So it was about a 24-second penalty each time. So that's around 1 minute for the entire duration of the race that Nino was having to overcome as a result of bypassing the UCI Rock Garden. Lesson learned. We won't do it next year. He'll be prepared. But the fact that he's able to come back and catch back up to second place, which I want you to make sure you watch when he is able to do that in the last 6 or so minutes of the second lap, is honestly amazing. And it shows the level of riding that he's capable of doing when he sets his mind to something. Especially when he catches the glimpse of that carrot in front of him. He can burn matches that most people do not have, regardless of age. And he's able to pull this kid back. But the rock garden's coming up, and you'll see Nino bypass it. And then we'll go into the second lap, and I'll do some narration, and then I'll encourage you to fast forward probably the last 6 minutes, 7 minutes of the race. Nino was telling me a story after the race that this particular spot right here, he jumped and both of his wheels left the ground. And he said he remembered me saying, never turn your wheel when you do that or else it will be bad. And he said his wheel was starting to turn, and he realized it and panicked and made sure that it was straight. You'll briefly see, as much as this video can show you, that the little spot here where he jumps. And he said it scared him to death, but I just thought that was pretty funny. Nino remembered something from a couple years ago that I told him. I haven't said it since then, but in midair he remembered to get his wheel straight so that it didn't end up crashing hard. He's about to come out of the single track back onto the pavement, heading into lap 2. And as I said, I was the announcer, so I was paying attention to the timing and various placement of each racer and races that were taking place. And I actually said on the PA that Nino was about 15 seconds down from his second place competitor. I don't know if Nino heard that or if he just found some internal motivation. But when he came through the start-finish line, it's like he tucked down into an aero time trial position, and he hammered completely, hard as he could, until he was completely out of sight, passing multiple people, grown-ups, adults, bigger kids, whole 9 yards. And of course, once he went out of sight, we were at the mercy of figuring out what happens at the very end, not knowing anything about how his race is going. But when he comes through the start-finish line, he's about 15 seconds down, and goes into lap 2. I put the lap into like time and a half speed just to hurry through the second lap, because very little action takes place until around the 6 or 7 minutes to go of the entire video. So I encourage you, if nothing else, fast forward to the last 6 or 7 minutes. It's at the point where he's going up that steep hill after the greenway, and about halfway up that hill, he sees his competitor in front of him, and his competitor turns around and makes eye contact with Nino, and that did nothing but motivate Nino. And you can actually hear Nino make a comment about it. But ultimately, if Nino had 10 matches left in his match book, he somehow burned 13 of them to catch this kid. And it was an amazing thing to watch, especially where he did it, because he pretty much did it on the downhill after the penalty for bypassing the UCI rock garden. So follow along for that, and we'll do a quick little update at the very end.
every time that stupid idiot, I always have. This race has been the most worst race I've had in my life. Thank you. Still do.
This is what we call no man's land, and it's that horrible place to be in when you're a competitive cyclist, where the race in the front of you is gone and pretty much the race behind you is gone. I guess that's a good thing, but regardless, it still puts you in this no man's land where you have to rely on yourself to make yourself go harder. And at 8 years old, it's nearly impossible to do. And as a professional, it's probably impossible to do unless you have a radio where your coach or team director is yelling at you to get going. But a kid that doesn't have any metrics like power or heart rate and clearly is just riding on the field, it's nearly impossible. So the fact that he's able to ride hard enough to be able to get sight of his competitor who was in second place is pretty amazing to me. But soon here on the video, that's going to happen. And watch how he takes it up about 3 gears to that next level.
Great! Best race. This.
Alright, it's game on now. The kid that just made the passes in 11, 12, or 13, 14-year-old division, not for sure. But as they're starting to go up the steep, long hill, Nino's able to pass this kid somewhere going up about halfway, a little bit before. That's when he makes eye contact with Mondragon, who was in second place. And make sure you watch from this point on to the end and how Nino convinces himself to keep pushing. And then somehow, some way, miraculously catches up to Mondragon with very, very, very minimal time to go and puts himself in position, though it might not have been the best position, but he put him in position for an exciting sprint finish.
Stare at me. Okay, kid, you're going down. Down. On this ground.
You'll see right here, Nino was able to almost get directly behind the kid in second place. And right when he's getting almost within reach, the kid takes the UCI rock garden. Nino has to take the bypass. So now he's about 25 seconds down, and he has to bring back this in the last minutes of the race. Watch the last little bit and see how fast Nino takes it through here. And imagine being his parent watching this video and seeing how he's on the brink of catastrophe at every single spot along this descent.
Thank you for announcing yourself. Rider back.
As you can see through this section right here, Nino was going top speed. If he was going any faster, he probably would not have been able to keep it in the trail. But as a result of burning all his matches through here in just a second, you're going to see him catch up after all he had been through with both crashes, having to take the rock garden bypasses, all the things that were stacked against him. He gets a glimpse of Mondragon in second place. Watch the last little bit. Well, as you can see right there, Nino missed it right at the line. But isn't it awesome to see, especially in the 10 and under division, an entire race coming down to the last couple feet with two riders this skilled, going this fast, and for it finally to be decided in the last half second. It was pretty awesome to see, and it was a great experience for Nino. You could see in the last couple minutes, Nino made a bunch of mistakes. First of all, calling out his pass, should never have done that. Second of all, being a little bit too far back in preparation for a sprint. He should have never done that. But as a result of seeing this video and us being able to watch it, talk about it, and learn from it, I truly believe that the next time this happens, he will be prepared, and it's very likely to be a different outcome. However, at the conclusion of this race, I want you to see why this sport matters so much to Nino. This wasn't a tantrum. This wasn't a kid that's just mad because he lost. It was a kid that has worked all winter long, putting in around 8 to 10 hours a week. Some weeks more, some weeks less, but on average 8 to 10 hours a week. Everything he does evolves around cycling because he loves it. And he has aspirations of one day being a world champion. And with an attitude like this, putting his heart out on the line when nobody else is around, nobody could see this. He didn't even realize the camera was recording it. But to see how he's upset with himself for not having the perfect day and wanting to put it all out there, it kind of touches your heart to see how somebody as young as he is can care so much about this awesome sport. As usual, we appreciate you watching the video. Please take the minute, 1 second, hit subscribe, help Nino grow his channel. Like the video. If you think it was cool, share it with your friends. If you think it might motivate somebody else to get out there, get healthy, get some exercise, and enjoy the trails. Until next time, we'll see you on the trails.